the police are going to be mellow with us this weekend, and we shouldn't have subsequent problems as long as we take smoking off, whatever. But I think that they're not out to hurt us at this point. The aggressive stuff we saw earlier, I think, has ended. So please let people know that. I think it should be a peaceful weekend. Solidarity, and Billy, I want to call out our brother Billy over there who just put the thing in his ear. For between him and, believe it or not, one of the police, I believe that maybe CR Legal will not be around in the future.
Good news, CR Legal being one particular individual, is that correct?
Yes.
Here's the name.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
Yeah, I read this.
Okay, so
Thank you, Ed.
Wow.
We got more cups, or?
we have about an hour and a half. I wanted to try to put out some perspectives on decolonization and liberation, why I think decolonization is an essential concept, and then we can have as much discussion about it if we want to. I'm actually going to pick up on some of the stuff that was happening in the other group just for a minute, because there was a sister there talking about the Basques. And the Basques are a struggle for autonomy and independence inside Spain. And I don't know if you've been following the news, but currently in Spain, Catalonia is also now agitating for independence. They're probably doing it from a more privileged place than the Basques are, be that as it may. Scotland, the Scottish Nationalist Party basically has control of the Parliament of Scotland and is beginning to agitate for separation from the United Kingdom. As a result of the Quebecois student struggle, the Quebec independence forces won the elections in Quebec recently and are now talking again about the question of Quebecois separation from Canada. So I think the question of decolonization is actually a very live one right now everywhere that you look in the world. South Sudan separated from Sudan, and a lot of other things going on. And obviously the Palestinian struggle, the Irish struggle, the Puerto Rican struggle, and many other struggles. But I think that we're not just looking at each particular struggle, but trying to understand the fundamentals of the economic and political social order that we're a part of. It's essential to understand about colonialism and colonization, particularly settler colonialism, to understand why the divisions and what the strength of the system it confronts is, how it's internalized by people within it, either through neo-colonialism, through what people sometimes call privilege, through colonized mentality. So I want to sketch that out a little bit, and maybe people will agree, maybe they'll disagree. The starting point for me is that I know a lot of people are talking about that we have to be an anti-capitalist movement. And I think it's essential to understand that anti-capitalism is not enough. That there have been anti-capitalist movements since there's been capitalism, and yet those struggles seem to come proper in different ways. They don't follow through. They do succeed in taking state power in some society that they don't actually transform the economic and social relations in a fundamental way. So briefly, to go back to what I was saying about Spain, the model of a state, as I look at history, is not actually a nation state. It is an empire state. The history of Western civilization, quote unquote, is that it's an imperial model. And the European societies that we now look at, those maps, most of them were not states up until fairly recently in history. And the way they got to be states was essentially, even in Europe itself, through conquest, through the domination of people. So Spain, as a political expression of a single nation state, was not really a nation state. People know the kind of mythology of Ferdinand and Isabella. What they were doing is they were marrying together the royal households of two different societies, essentially. They united them, they consolidated their rule, they expelled the Moors, they expelled the Jews, and then they launched an imperial project into the New World. But if you look at Spain itself, they imposed Spanish, which was the language of the court, on multiple societies that existed within the territory they were claiming. If you look at France, the same thing. There were Bretons and a lot of other people in what became France, and the borders go back and forth. What's France? What's Germany? We have this idea that we learned in school that somehow maps are immutable, but we should know by now they're not. It's like if you look at the so-called Soviet Union, Soviet Union was based on the old Tsarist Empire. And the people who launched the project of the Soviet Union said the Tsarist Empire is a prison house of nations. And in fact, when the Soviet Union then disintegrated, what happened? There were like 27 different countries that were once part of that Tsarist Empire, then part of the Soviet Union. And so the model that a lot of people have internalized for socialism, for example, people are, maybe somebody's here today from the RCB, I don't know, but they have they adopted a constitution for the Socialist Republic of North America. Well, I don't know what that is, but this is not a single society. This is an agglomeration of people that have